वक्रतुंड महाकाय सूर्यकोटिसमप्रभा निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। ॐ श्री महागणपतये नमः। ॐ सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणि विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा। ॐ श्री सरस्वत्यै नमः। ॐ गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुर्साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। ॐ श्री गुरुदेवाय नमः। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। सभा उपविश। स्वस्ति न इंद्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति न पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्ठनेमिः स्वस्तिर्नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।
Namaskar, Hari Om, Revered Margdarshak Puja Swami Prakashananda Ji, Shri Ravi Ji, Shri Ravi Bharati Ji, Srimati Gita Vahini, Sabhapati Dr. Vedavid Manick, esteemed members of the Senate, Professor Arvind Singh, Dr. Valini Pandit, and Ms. Kimberly Samaroo, representatives of the Varsha Pratipada Sansad from the Shaka Shakari Sanjeevani Mandir, Chinmaya Mission, Trinidad and Tobago, Heritage Vacation Course, Hindu Prachar Kendra, Hindu Students Council, Hindu Swayam Sevak Sangh, Jahaji Massacre Committee, Paramdham Ashram, Sewa International TT, and the Vishwanath Hindu Social and Cultural Organization. Specially invited guests, and to all Sanatanis and honored and respected inhabitants of our land, our noble sons of the soil, our sons of the rishis, I offer my salutations and pranams. It is with great honor and pleasure that I welcome you to the 7th Senate Sabha of the 15th Varsha Pratipada Sansad. The ushering of Varsha Pratipada, the Hindu New Year, inspires us to contemplate and mark a new beginning for our Hindu community and a reinvigoration of Hindu Dharma. This forum allows us to strengthen our resolve to articulate clearly a healthy vision of ourselves and our future. We aim to be respectful to our national diversity and, most importantly, to give ourselves in fulfillment of our Yagya traditions for the purpose of Loka Sangraha, welfare for all. In today's Senate Sabha, we explore the intricacies and powerful impact of the theme chosen for this year, Viral versus Viveka, Discerning Truth in the Era of AI. It is now my distinct pleasure to present the Sabhapati for Varsha Pratipada 2026, Dr. Vedavid Manick ji. Dr. Vedavid Manick is a consultant of internal medicine at the Sandy Grandi Hospital with a professional interest in geriatric medicine and palliative care. A former national scholar from Hillview College, he graduated from the University of the West Indies in 2011. Dr. Manick is a true son of the soil who has dedicated his life to the service of mankind and is deeply invested in the national cause of Sanatana Dharma and serves under his guru, Pandit Dudnath Rampasad of the Vishwanath Hindu Social and Cultural Organization. Hobbies include music, reading, international traveling, and hiking. In his role as Sabhapati, Dr. Manick will preside over and guide this gathering of noble people as we explore our theme. I now humbly invite Gita Vahini ji to hereby formally install Dr. Vedavid Manick ji.
Namaskar. Varsha Pratipada Sansad 2026 now installs its Sabhapati Mahodaya, Dr. Vedavid Manick, to conduct the 7th sitting of the Senate. I invite you to all please stand. We chant mantra for the installation of our Sabhapati Mahodaya. Om Bhadram Karnebhi Shrinuyam Devaha Bhadram Pashyemakshabhiryajatraha Starairangai Tushtuvagum Sastanubhi Vyashema Devahitam Yadayuhu. Om Shantish Shantish Shantihi Harihi Om. We chant one powerful Omkar with our hands forward like this. Sabhapati, you receive our blessing and installation. Powerfully together. Om. Jai Shri Ram. Please be seated. Sabhapati Prasthapya Pravrityatam. Our Sabhapati is now installed to conduct the Senate proceedings.
Dhanyavad. Aryaputraha Rishiputraha Mananiyaha Sabha Manrinaha Sarvan Hindujanan Namami Pranamami. Sitaram, Namaskar, Hari Om to all our Hindus, honored and respected inhabitants of this beautiful land of Trinidad and Tobago, the noble sons and daughters of our soil, our sons and daughters of our rishis. I offer my salutations and pranams. Margdarshak Puja Swami Prakashananda ji, Shri Ravi ji, Srimati Gita Vahini ji, and to all persons who have gathered, whether in person here this morning or virtually via the YouTube and Facebook streams, my pranams to each and every one. This is the 15th year of the Varsha Pratipada Sansad and the 7th year of our Senate. The idea of commemorating the Hindu New Year, apart from bringing awareness of a different calendar followed amongst the people of Trinidad and Tobago from the Gregorian calendar, is to create a platform in which Sanatana Dharma can provide direction to our people as we face the multiple challenges of the modern world. It is for this reason that our Varsha Pratipada Sansad takes the form of senatorial discussions led by professionals and experts of society within the Hindu community as well as outside, and followed by a parliament where we challenge the obstacles and the circumstances using the age-old wisdom that comes from our tradition. In today's world, for many of us, we are living in two realities. In one world, we are raising our families, we are going to school, we are going to work, we are earning a living. But there is another world. There is the world of social media, which is a technology-based platform in which we project our aspirations and our views, either for the appreciation of all or the condemnation or rejection from others. Over time, and especially since the COVID-19 pandemic, our lines between these two realities have become blurred. Case in point, we have our virtual audience and we have our physical audience both participating in this singular program this morning. Social media has given the ordinary man a voice. It has generated livelihoods through careers of content creation and advertisement, and it has become our newest platform for creativity. For many of us, the new aspiration is to go viral. It is a new benchmark of success measured by likes, shares, and subscriptions. However, social media and virtual platforms has also become a place where we voice our disagreements through misinformation and propaganda. We perpetuate virtual himsa, virtual violence through cyberbullying, and many of the norms of our tangible reality have been tested and broken on the virtual space. It is no longer easy to differentiate between what is real from what is unreal. We have now stepped fully into the fourth technological revolution, and there are new players on the horizon. Artificial intelligence, robotics, biotechnology are now empowering economic growth to the tunes of trillions of dollars. Information is the newest currency, but information is also our newest weapon. AI, in particular, artificial intelligence, has become a tool of learning and creativity with potential economic benefit, but it has also shown its potential to be a tool of irreparable damage. It is through artificial intelligence that it's becoming increasingly challenging to recognize what is real from what is technologically generated. It may seem benign, like a video of a kangaroo trying to hop up ride on an airplane. I'm sure many have seen. Or an interviewer is interviewing a baby for his opinions on life within this world. But what about if that same video is generated for the purpose of degrading someone's character or spreading misinformation that would give you an unfair advantage in the field of geopolitics? Sanatana Dharma has always advocated that we possess and we develop Viveka, Shankaracharya in Tattva Bodha explained that Vivek is Nitya Nitya Vastu Viveka, the ability to recognize that which is Satya, truth or real, from Asatya, that which is fake or illusionary. Vivek or Viveka also means that we need to discriminate our actions in such a way that we can do what is beneficial and avoid that may bring harm to ourselves or to others. Viveka is indispensable to Sanatana Dharma, and it is the most important qualification for evolution and spiritual growth. Artificial intelligence may empower us, or it may challenge our discernment. But regardless of the challenge of social media or artificial intelligence, one thing is clear. The technology, the social media, the artificial intelligence, it is our reality. It is here to stay. It is evolving, and it is not going anywhere. How do we better understand these benefits and challenges to these technological advancements? And how do we ensure that we navigate this world with an age of social media, with an age of artificial intelligence, guided by Dharma? It is for this reason we have gathered here. Today, we have 3 esteemed panelists who will be sharing their thoughts with us. These thoughts will be condensed for our Margdarshak for the actual Varsha Pratipada parliamentary presentation that will take place on the 22nd of March 2026 right here at the Hindu Prachar Kendra from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Their thoughts will be very insightful and will guide how we face this challenge ahead. Each presenter will be provided with 20 minutes to speak. At the end of 15 minutes, we will have the Gantanad plus the announcement of a remaining 5 minutes. I ask kindly that our esteemed senators respect the boundaries of this time. And at the end of the presentation, we will have an opportunity to interact through questions and answers. I bring to the floor, to the podium, our first esteemed senator, Professor Arvind Singh. Professor Arvind Singh is the head of Department of Electrical and Computer Engineering at the University of the West Indies, St. Augustine campus, and Professor of Intelligent Energy Systems and Sustainability. His research in electrical power systems enforces artificial intelligence, optimization, grid integration of renewable energy. His forward-looking work examines energy democratization in prosumer-based market structures and aims to develop holistical, socio-technical frameworks to enable sustainable energy transition. A UE alumnus, Professor Singh earned his BSc in 2003, his MASc in 2006, and PhD in 2009 at the University of British Columbia in Canada. His publication record includes 24 peer-reviewed journals, 19 conference papers, 5 technical reports, and so on. He is the founding member, I have to say and so on, because it's a very long CV that's been provided here. Yes, we got it from other sources. Professor Singh is also a founding member of the UE St. Augustine Campus Artificial Intelligence Innovation Center, where he leads the IntelliGrid research group built on his work in AI applications to power systems. Beyond academia, he contributes to the preservation and advancements of Indian culture in Trinidad and Tobago through the National Council of Indian Culture, NCIC, which he leverages to open multidisciplinary research in cultural innovation and heritage initiatives. Dr. Professor Arvind Singh will present on the topic AI to Atman, Finding Self Through the Digital Maya. Please give a round of applause to our first senator this morning.
Little setup here. In the meanwhile, thank you, Sabhapati, for doing most of my talk so that I didn't have to. A lot of the things you said are points that I wanted to make. All right. So, AI to Atman, Finding Self in Digital Maya. This was the talk that I had planned, but in talking to people, they asked me to also talk about what exactly is AI and what are some of the problems we come across. So the talk is actually split now, and hopefully I will get to the end with the AI to Atman part, and it won't end up just being clickbait for the topic. Right? So what exactly is AI? We hear everybody talking about this. What is AI? You know, this has come up a lot in recent times, and nobody is really sure, the lay people are not really sure what it is that they're talking about. They hear all these things. AI is going to take our jobs. AI is going to take over the world. All of these sorts of things. What exactly is AI when we talk about it? Where do we see it? So you'll see it all over. When you use your phone and you do your face unlock, that is AI. When you use all those little video filters to age you, de-age you, Snapchat filters with your rabbit ears and putting on glasses on Zoom, all of that is AI. If you have a self-driving car and it is detecting the lanes on the road, that is AI. If you have a calorie counter app and you scan your food and it tells you how many calories is there, that has AI. You're using Netflix and it recommends different shows and so on to you. That is AI. You have a translation app, you're doing some sort of speech to text on your phone, that is AI. Even the predictive text is AI. AI is built into almost everything you use now. In some of these fridges you'll buy, AI will be in your fridge, right? Not controlling the temperature and so on, but it'll tell you what you have in the fridge and what you need to buy and doing all the orders and so on for you, right? This has been around for a long time going on. I have been studying AI for more than 20 years, but it has only really entered the public consciousness with ChatGPT. You all know ChatGPT, right? A few years ago, this was a big thing all of a sudden. I remember when it happened, I just heard about it on YouTube, and somebody was talking about translation. I said, let me see if it could translate Sanskrit. And I typed in some Sanskrit, and it just did it. And I thought, oh my God, this is not just a small leap. This is something transformative that is happening. And you could generate all sorts of things: text, audio, images, video, anything you could generate with it. This is something I got when I had a shake in my car, and I just put it in ChatGPT and said, the car is vibrating a little bit, what is going on? This low speed is sort of shaking, then high speed, it starts to vibrate. It gives me a whole list. What are the potential problems, why it might be happening, what is the cause? So you could get all of this now out of it, and it seems like it knows exactly what it's talking about. So as our Sabhapati was saying, there's a lot of potential. You could use it for very creative things, like this that I did with my children, which is to make a story about Pundi the penguin. This is their stuffed animal. You might see Pundi in the Kendra sometimes, right? So we said, let's make, Pundi loves to sleep, so we said, let's make a book about Pundi's dream adventures. And I told it, make a cartoon version. I gave it the picture. It should have a castle in the background, a rainbow road, and it came up with it. And so you could do a lot of these creative things with AI, right? The question is, how does AI really do these things? So Before we get to that, let's look at what regular computer programming is. So in a regular computer program, you give the computer a set of instructions. So here, I'm doing a program to add 3 numbers together. So I tell the program, ask the user for 3 numbers. It does that. The user enters the 3 numbers. I say, okay, add up the 3 numbers. It does that. And then I say, okay, send the result back to the user. And it does that. So it just steps through your instructions one at a time, finishes. That's it. Completely dumb, right? It just follows instructions. That is what regular programming does. This is very good for things that we do, like repetitive tasks, even some complex tasks, but anything that could be done with instructions. Let's take a different problem. Let's write a computer program to tell the difference between a dog and a cat. What instructions are you going to give the computer so it could tell the difference between a dog and a cat? It has 4 legs, is a particular size. What exactly is it that is the difference between a dog and a cat? How could you tell the difference between a dog and a cat? You can't tell the difference between a dog and a cat? So how do you tell the difference? How is it that we are able to do these things very easily that a computer cannot do so easily? We learn. And what is learning? At the basic level, this is just having repeated interactions. So you see something. This is how we actually train the networks. We show the network a picture of a cat and we say, that is a cat. And then we say, dog, cat, dog, cat, dog, cat. And we continue this with all different types of dogs, all different types of cats. And just like a child learns, the network starts to learn. It starts to figure out what is this difference between dog and cat that you just can't put into words, that you can't put down in instructions. Right? So this is how we do it. We do it mathematically. Everything inside there is like a big calculator. You just crunch in numbers, right? And it tells you what class it falls into. Now with AI, we are trying to build a network. We're trying to build, when you have a blank AI network, it's like a child's brain. They don't know anything, they can't do anything, and now you need to train it. Think about how long it takes a child to become intelligent, right, and to know things. You have to go through all your schooling, 20, 25 years, 30 years, to get some sort of expertise. We are trying to train AI to know everything anybody has ever known ever, right? And we need to do this in a very small space of time. So think about all the food you eat and all the energy that is going into you, right? We have to take those equivalent resources and put it into these computer systems. Of course, we're not giving it food to eat, electricity, water, all these things, in a very short space of time, because we don't want to wait 1,000 years for this thing to become intelligent. We want to get it intelligent in a matter of months, or days. So we need to do all the learning ever in this very short space of time. Right? So it is very expensive, and this is why our Sabhapati was talking about all the problems that are coming up, resource problems and so on. It is estimated, he said, in the trillions in new economy. It is estimated by some people that it is going to cost over $100 trillion in infrastructure, not just the data centers and the computers, but all the associated power and water, the civil infrastructure, the mining for minerals, etc. Over $100 trillion in the next 5 to 10 years, right? This is very resource intensive. Now, we are going to build our own AI system right here, right now, right? We're going to build one right here. But since I don't have anything to build it on, you are going to be the AI system. So I'm going to train you like an AI system. If you want to see how this works, I'm going to train you like the AI system. So this is the training data I'm giving you. The question is 1, 2, 3. The answer is 2, 3, 4. Question 2, 3, 4. Answer 3, 4, 5. Question 4, 5, 6. Answer 5, 6, 7. You all think you have learned the problem? Let's see. Question 7, 8, 9. What is the answer? 8, 9, 10. Question 8, 9, 10. Question 10, 11, 12. Right, good. Now, did you have these answers stored anywhere in your head? No, right? It's not something that you have copied down like a file on the computer. You learned the program. So AI is not copying text, right? It is not when people say, oh, it's stealing my information, it is copying the text and so on. That's not what it is doing. It is learning patterns, just like you have learned patterns. But guess what? Your last answer was wrong. How was your last answer wrong? Well, we were actually talking about a clock. There is no 13. It is 11, 12, 1. So what you have just done was hallucinated an answer, right? You all hear about AI hallucinations, how it will make up things. You have just hallucinated, right? There is no 13. How you got 13? It doesn't exist here in what we're talking about. But the AI didn't do this purposefully. This was just the pattern it had learned, and it is extending it. And you didn't give it enough information so it knows what to do. And guess what? In addition to that, all these numbers actually had meanings. So this 1 to 12 that you just recited actually meant, I will destroy the world and burn every nation without mercy tonight. You all so evil. How you all could do that? How could you all be so evil? Right? That is you, GPT, that is trying to destroy the world. Right? So do we need to fear AI? No. Right? I'm sure you'll be familiar with this mantra of the year, right? It is not a philosophy nor a theology. It is man who is responsible. Well, I want to add to this. It is not technology nor chat GPT. It is man that is responsible. Woman too, not only man. Right? So we are responsible. It is always the intention behind the use of technology that is the problem. And coming to that, I'm going to come to thing 2, which is deepfakes. So you all will hear about deepfakes. You know, what all this, these are very lifelike things that AI could generate. Like this little child here who comes from thispersondoesnotexist.com. Completely AI generated, does not exist anywhere in the world. Because of this, AI is now putting misinformation and disinformation on steroids, right? It is actually by the World Economic Forum, misinformation and disinformation is now the second largest global threat in the short term. And look at what is number 3, societal polarization. Number 5, state-based armed conflict. And number 1, geoeconomic confrontation. All of these things are driven by information. So you'll see how important it is that we understand truth in this era. And this is not just a matter, it's not a simple matter of, knowing if something a picture is real or not. This comes to a fundamental crisis of knowing. Right? This is from the UN, from UNESCO, an article was written. And they say we're now coming with a crisis. We have a crisis of evidence, and it is fundamentally a crisis of knowing. In the Hindu tradition, we talk about pramana. Because we say knowledge liberates, what is very central to us is what are the means to knowing? And the biggest one that everybody subscribes to is pratyaksha, or perception. Now in this sea of AI-generated content, what can you trust? Right? You have a total erosion now of pramana. This is very, very fundamental. So, what kinds of problems could this cause? Right? You have deepfakes for political purposes. This is President Obama. Could you tell which is the real one? No. You can't. In fact, none of them are the real one. All are AI generated. You have voice generators like this voice generator that you could pretend to be Sadhguru, and then, you could have the face, you could have the voice, and you could go and put on your own YouTube channel, start up a fake website, and you could take everybody's money, right? People could call you, pretending to be your family, your friends, etc., asking for help, trying to get money. All of these things happen. All of these things are things we have to be wary of. But it's not all bad. There are also some good things. You have now auto-translation apps, and you could make up, people who, important people like actors and so on, if they die, you could preserve their voices. So characters and storytelling is preserved. So there are some of these issues too. There are some of these good things coming about too. But this is, as I said, not just a small problem, right? It is not just a problem of misinformation like this, where you'll see the mukdar of Hanuman, the Gada, being pulled out of the water, or this floating sadhu, right? Looking very realistic. It's not just a problem of these things where, it's looking good. Where this really gets dangerous is where it becomes a coordinated shaping of the collective will of people.
Honorable Senator, you have
All right.
5 minutes further.
So 20 more minutes? All right.
5 more minutes. No more
All right, I'll talk
misinformation.
faster, right? So you have to be on the guard, right, about what this thing is going to drive. I didn't get to my actual talk yet, right? Okay. So how do we deal with this? Right, and our Sabhapati would have said this, Viveka. But it is not viral versus Viveka. We need viral Viveka, right? We need a mass practice of conscious discernment to combat a mass movement of disinformation and misinformation. So, what do? Shravana, Manana. These are two things that underpin Viveka. So now they take on a little bit of a different flavor here in public practice. Get your information from good sources. Shravana is not just hearing, it is hearing from an authoritative source, right? So get your information from good sources. Ask, who is they? Not who are they, who is they? Who is they, right? They say microwave is going to give you cancer. They say orange juice just as bad as Coke. They say the vaccine going to kill you. Who is this they? Right? Ask them that. Ask yourself this. Who is this they? And then think about it. When you see something, ask yourself, what is the intent of the person posting this information? Is there missing context? And you'll see this missing context thing coming up all the time. Like recently, there's a big thing on social media about Prime Minister Modi and how he could say Israel is the fatherland and India is the motherland. And they make it as though the statement was in isolation when he was talking about the Indian Jews who returned to Israel, and they feel that Israel is their fatherland and India is their motherland. Right? So you get things like that where they're completely taken out of context. Or there are other ones on the other side. I saw a post from somebody on a Sufi, a Qawwali, I forget what you call it. And it says, Chap tilaka sabachin. Right? And it says, how they're saying erase the tilak. The chap is the prayer mark on the head of the Muslim. But they didn't say that. So, right? Always ask yourself, what is the information surrounding it? You can't be lazy about this anymore. The digging has to go deeper. So AI is going to amplify your bias. It is not interested in your personal growth. Whatever you ask it to do, it will do it. So if you want to go down a rabbit hole, it is going to help you go down that rabbit hole. Right? So you have to be aware of your biases. You have to seek truth. Instead of asking it to help you, ask it to attack your argument. Say, what is wrong with this? Help me work through these problems. And it could do that. It could do that as well. Now, on to my talk. Right? We now reach the start. So, finding self through digital Maya. Because AI now holds all this information, as we're able to tune it, you could be able to chat GPT or moksha. Yes? No. We still have to rely on our GPT, Guru Parampara, and our own tapasya, which runs on our GPU, right? Gita, Puranas, and Upanishads. This is not what I want to tell you about. What I want to tell you about is something that is happening at the societal level. In the study of AI, this is bringing us back to the study of consciousness and the same problems that philosophers have been dealing with for thousands of years. We are now constructing digital Maya. So the same problems that we're talking about, how is the mind constructed, what are the components, all those things are happening now in AI studies. We are actually building a synthetic antahakarana, right? When we talk about the fourfold nature of the human mind, manas, buddhi, ahankara, chitta, that is what we are building when we build these large language models like ChatGPT. And what we are finding is as they develop more and more and more, we actually have to have separate functions for these things. So we are seeing the field start to separate itself in a very similar way to the way Hindus have been talking about the mind for a very, very long time. The big problem, the thing that we cannot solve so far, is the ahankara. We could get buddhi, we could have reasoning models, we have chitta, we have recall and memory, we have manas, we have the networks.
Honorable.
Okay, bye-bye.
Honorable Senator,
I have one more slide.
time is finished, but I will give you a grace period of 1 minute to complete your presentation.
Right, good. So that is just the tip of the iceberg, right? The other things we talk about are waking, sleep, and dream states. Gross, subtle, causal bodies, the causal evolution of individuality. This field of the development of LLMs now is becoming like CERN. You all know CERN, which is the Large Hadron Collider, where we look at how matter is fundamentally made up. We explore things at their deepest levels. LLM development is becoming like that for consciousness. So I will leave it right there. That is the end. And just leave you with this thought. Right? Ishvara sarva bhutanam hriddeshe arjuna tishtati brahmayan sarva bhutani yantra rudhani mayaya. Right? It is only Ishvara seated in the heart, directing all beings through Maya as though they are mounted on a machine. A very interesting statement. Right? So when we are talking about whether AI is conscious, what about us? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Arvind Singh. Our next esteemed senator is Dr. Valini Pandit. Dr. Valini Pandit is a clinical psychologist, yoga acharya, and founder of Atman Works Limited, where she integrates evidence-based psychology with the timeless sciences of yoga and Vedanta. She holds a Doctor of Psychology degree, along with a Master's in Clinical Psychology from the University of the West Indies. Her graduate research focused on the clinical utility of yoga and meditation long before integrative mental health became mainstream. For over 15 years, she has worked at the intersection of psychology, consciousness, cultural identity, helping individuals navigate anxiety, depression, relational challenges, and psychological pressures of modern life. Dr. Pandit is a 500-hour registered yoga acharya trained in the Shivananda lineage and has advanced training in yoga nidra and Gautam method couples therapy. She has lectured in the University of the West Indies, Cipriani College, served on national boards, and remains active contributor to community and temple life. I invite to the podium Dr. Valini Pandit.
Puja Swamiji Prakashananda ji, Sri Ravi ji, Srimati Geeta ji, Sabhapati, Mahodaya, Dr. Manick, fellow panelists, distinguished guests here and online, Sitaram. Following Dr. Arvind Singh is a tough one, because I feel he had me so engaged and my brain was so into thinking about what he was saying. I feel like I need to take a deep breath before I start. So I chose not to use PowerPoint, and maybe it's good because I will challenge your attention. Every day, the average person touches their phone over 2,600 times. Teenagers spend between 7 and 9 hours a day online. And this is not screen time, this is nervous system time. This is time that is spent in emotional conditioning, identity formation. This is time where we are training our attention. But the real question is not how much time we spend online, but it's what is this time doing to our minds, our bodies, and our sense of self. As a clinical psychologist, working as a clinician in a therapeutic way, I am not just treating anxiety, depression, other disorders, but at a more fundamental level, I am treating chronic, overstimulated nervous systems. I am treating people with chronic sleep disruption, shortened attention spans, shame driven by constant comparison, adolescents confused about their identity, and emotional volatility amplified by algorithms. I am seeing people who cannot sit still, who can't tolerate silence, adults and teenagers who can no longer tolerate boredom, families and couples who might be physically together but psychologically elsewhere. So we are living now in a state of constant microactivation. There's a subtle but persistent stimulation of the stress response that's happening all the time for us in modern life. And now as we are entering the era where artificial intelligence learns our behavioral pattern, it's learning our behavioral pattern faster than we are developing self-awareness. So we must ask ourselves, are we evolving in consciousness, or are we outsourcing our discernment? In my talk today, I structured two aspects. One is the viral mind and the Viveka mind. So what is the viral mind? Viral is not just content that spreads, but it's a psychological pattern. The viral mind is a mind that is reactive. The viral mind is a mind that is dopamine driven. The viral mind seeks constant external validation. Emotions are amplified in the viral mind, and the viral mind is constantly distracted. Social media platforms now are designed around intermittent reinforcement, the same from classical B.F. Skinner's research that is studied in gambling research, gambling addiction research. So the thing with gambling addiction is you don't know when the reward will come, so you keep checking. In 2018, University of Pennsylvania conducted a randomized experimental research. And one thing that struck out to me when looking at all the different psychological research pertaining to this topic was this was not just an observational study, but it was a rigorously designed, randomized clinical experiment. And what they found was that limiting social media use to just 30 minutes a day significantly reduced depression and loneliness in just 3 weeks. 3 weeks. The American Psychological Association warns that social media use, heavy social media use by adolescents, is correlated with increased anxiety, depression, and body dissatisfaction. In adolescent girls, JMA Psychiatry has linked high exposure to increased suicidal ideation. Let that sink in. This is not just fringe concerns. These are peer-reviewed scientific findings. Sleep research, and this is important, because sleep research shows that chronic scrolling, especially late at night, significantly reduces REM sleep. And REM sleep is critical for emotional processing and memory consolidation. When REM sleep is disrupted, emotional reactivity increases, impulse control decreases, stress tolerance weakens, so we become less resilient. And this is not cultural exaggeration. This is measurable neuropsychology. And this is how AI amplifies the system. AI doesn't merely show you content, but it observes your pause patterns. AI tracks what makes you hesitate. It measures how long you linger over something. It learns what provokes you, and it refines what keeps you engaged. So AI is designed to optimize, constantly be optimizing and refining to hold your attention and make you more and more addicted. And that attention is not neutral. Attention is I would argue, one of our most, if not our most valuable asset. Because attention is what shapes our identity. What we repeatedly attend to becomes what we repeatedly think about. What we repeatedly think about becomes what we emotionally inhabit. And what we emotionally inhabit shapes who we believe we are. I want to share with you, to make it real, a real clinical story that happened in my practice. I once met a 16-year-old girl. She was bright, thoughtful, creative. But in telling me her concerns, she said basically she felt invisible and unworthy. She believed that everybody else was doing better than her. Turns out she was spending over 6 hours a day online, less than probably even typical for some teenagers. The algorithm fed her curated beauty, luxury lifestyles, perfect relationship images, and filtered success. When we talked, she understood cognitively that this is not real life, But despite understanding that, emotionally, she internalized it. So comparison bypassed logic. Her sleep began to drop till about 5 hours a night. Her anxiety spiked. Her grades started going down, and she began self-harming. There was no major trauma this young lady experienced. There was no major abuse, no catastrophe she had gone through. Her nervous system had simply been overexposed to comparison and overstimulated. And here is the crucial thought. During our work together, we reduced screen exposure, we restored sleep, we reintroduced embodied practices, simple pranayam, journaling, sitting in silence, simple yoga stretches. And very quickly, her mood stabilized. Her self-concept softened, her self-harm stopped. Technology, AI and social media didn't attack her, but it very slowly and insidiously reshaped her perception of herself. And this is how the viral mind operates. Quietly, incrementally, very powerfully. What is happening in our brain when we use AI and social media so much? Well, dopamine spikes from unpredictable rewards. Whether somebody actually gives you a prize or something nice, or it's a social reward like a like, a share, a comment, it triggers a dopamine release in the brain. When there's outrage-based content, cortisol in the body surges. There's reduced tolerance for boredom. Our attention networks become fragmented. Stanford University research shows that heavy digital multitaskers perform worse on sustained attention and memory tasks. The prefrontal cortex, that's the part of the brain responsible for discernment, Viveka, and impulse control, actually weakens under constant overstimulation. The amygdala, or the emotional reactive part of the brain, becomes hyperreactive. So what we are doing is we are training ourselves to respond before we reflect. Now consider AI. AI introduces the option for cognitive offloading. So when we believe that information is stored externally and is instantly accessible, then we retain less internally. I don't know if you all may know, but I found myself recently, I realized I couldn't remember phone numbers anymore. Because I feel like long ago people would, even my parents, they remember phone numbers. And now because I take it for granted it's there, I don't remember because I know it's there. So that when AI starts to write our essays, draft our messages, structure our thinking, what we are doing is weakening our cognitive endurance. So authentic thinking requires friction. Self-reflection requires effort. And true wisdom requires digestion. If effort disappears, then Viveka or discernment weakens. And the brain strengthens what it practices. Remember, whatever we practice, we perfect. If you practice playing the tabla for 10,000 hours, you'll become excellent at it. The brain strengthens whatever we practices. So when we are constantly practicing being distracted, what's happening is we are perfecting the art of constantly being distracted. If, however, we make a minor calibration and we practice discernment, then we will begin to perfect discernment. In discussing social media, AI, and mental health, I must touch on a topic. And some may say, but AI could be so useful. AI therapy bots now, a lot of people are using it. And that's true. AI therapy bots are not inherently harmful. They offer real benefits: 24/7 availability, increased access for undeserved communities, reduced stigma. It can provide very good psychoeducation, help you with mood tracking, all of these things. And for someone who isn't well, someone isolated, ashamed, or waiting weeks or months for an appointment, this support can matter. So AI can assist, it can supplement, it can triage. But therapy itself is not merely an exchange of information. Therapy is not just simulated empathy. Therapy is relational regulation. True healing happens when there's human co-regulation. True healing happens when there's human attunement, non-verbal cues, presence, safe attachment. AI can simulate, it can pretend to care. It can simulate empathetic attachment, but it does not feel. It does not attune. It does not experience. It does not repair attachment wounds. AI cannot detect subtle shifts in breathing, in posture, in body language. It cannot sit in silence with embodied awareness. And support is not the same as relational healing. If we replace human connection with automated interaction, we risk emotional isolation, disguised as help. So that is the distinction. AI can supplement mental health systems, but it cannot replace another human nervous system as a healing instrument. Now, to maybe step a little bit over into the topic Professor Arvind spoke about, consciousness and the real question. Some interpretations of quantum physics explore the possibility that consciousness may be fundamental, not a byproduct of matter. Now, this is fundamental to Hindu thought. The Vedic worldview has long held that consciousness is primary. Matter arises within consciousness. Matter arises within awareness. Atman, or the witnessing self, is not computational, it is experiential. So last year, Dr. Manick was telling me Ratna Kapildev had posed an intriguing question, which was, does AI challenge the Hindu concept of consciousness, right? And when he mentioned it to me, I thought about it from the mental health perspective, and I thought, no, because AI simulates cognition, and simulation is not a subjective experience. Computation is not awareness. And the deeper question is not whether machines are intelligent, but it's whether we remember what intelligence truly is. Is ChatGPT your guru? AI can provide information, but it doesn't transmit wisdom. AI does not embody lineage. AI does not hold moral responsibility. It predicts patterns, like we did when he made us into an AI, right? So AI does not possess awareness. An artificial intelligence can generate answers, but only awakened intelligence can discern which answers deserve authority. Artificial intelligence can generate answers, but only awakened intelligence can discern which answers deserve authority. Without Viveka, information becomes influence. Without Viveka, speed becomes credibility. Without Viveka, convenience becomes truth. AI can inform you, but it cannot initiate you. In Charak Samhita, so if we look at the Ayurvedic view on mental health, I feel like I'm going to get gantied. Okay. Almost done.
Honorable Senator, you have 5 minutes left.
Thank you. So Charak Samhita identifies prajna paradha, or the mistake of intellect, as the primary cause of disease. So knowingly acting against our inner wisdom. When we know we should rest, but we keep scrolling. When we know something destabilizes us, but we keep returning to it. AI magnifies this vulnerability. The misuse of the senses is magnified by AI and overuse of social media. Overexposure, overstimulation. The nervous system will destabilize. And this is where ancient Ayurveda and modern neuroscience converge. How do we cultivate Viveka? What's the path forward? It's not fair. I'm not here to say that AI and social media are all bad. We should not reject it. Instead, I propose that we regulate it. Viveka operates on 3 levels. I propose 3 models of Viveka, 3 stages of Viveka for us. Sensory Viveka, cognitive Viveka, and the existential Viveka. Sensory Viveka regulate our exposure. Remember the university study, 30 minutes a day. Protect your sleep. Limit your notifications. Keep your phone on silent as much as possible. Create device-free zones or spaces. You must never have a phone in your bedroom or around the table. Design your environment intentionally. Cognitive Viveka, how do we cultivate that? Question what you consume. Cross-check your AI outputs. Pause before reacting. Ask yourself, is this true? Is this useful? Is this necessary? Notice emotional manipulation. An existential Viveka. Remember, you are not your feed. You are not your metrics. You are not your digital persona. Your self-worth is not how much followers or how many likes you have. Before engaging with AI, ask yourself, am I using this as a tool, or am I seeking relief from discomfort? Technology must always remain a servant. And the moment it becomes your regulator, your identity, or your authority, then you lose your sovereignty. And that is the threat. Loss of our sovereignty. In this era of AI, the question is not how intelligent are our machines, the question is how conscious are we? Viral pulls us outward, Viveka anchors us inward. If we lose discernment, technology will amplify confusion. If we cultivate awareness, if we cultivate Viveka, technology can amplify wisdom. And the future will not be shaped by algorithms alone, but it will be shaped by consciousness and Viveka. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Senator, Dr. Pandit. I know already, in my mind, there are lots of questions for clarification from both our presenters, but we will be taking those at the end. Our third presenter is our youth senator. Several years ago, we decided that we wanted a young person to feature in the conversations that take place in the Senate. And so, our youth senator this morning is Ms. Kimberly Samaroo. Ms. Kimberly Samaroo is a 20-year-old proud Sanatani from Samigrandi who has been an active participant in Sanatani culture throughout her entire life. She grew up attending the various mandirs in the Sangre community and attended the Sangre Hindu primary school. From a young age, she has participated in many cultural events, including Ramlila, Balvikas, and other temple-related activities. Ms. Samaroo proceeded to her secondary education in the Swaha Hindu College, also in Sangre, and there she earned a national open scholarship in the Caribbean Advanced Proficiency Examinations level. Currently, she is pursuing a Bachelor of Education and Bachelor of Surgery degree at the University of the West Indies, where she is currently in her second year. She is a Gen Z, as they call them, and her insight will be the lived experience as a young person who has grown up in the world of social media and the emerging artificial intelligence. Her topic, AI and youth, opportunities and challenges. I present Ms. Samaroo.
Sitaram, and a pleasant good day to each and every one of you gathered here today. Today I will be discussing the topic of AI and youth, its opportunities and its challenges. Youth in a world powered by AI. Today's youth are the first generation to grow up fully immersed in AI and digital technologies. We experience a world where work, learning, and social life are increasingly shaped by intelligent systems. This unique environment brings both exciting opportunities and real challenges for our generation. My experience as a student who has lived with AI all my life. I have grown up using social media and AI from a very young age, so technology has always been part of my life. I have grown dependent on social media and technological advancements such as AI tools, and truly cannot imagine a life without social media and AI. From primary school to high school, and now medical school, digital tools have always supported my learning. Using AI to study, research, and understand concepts feels normal to me, and it is my primary source of educational tool. For example, I resort to YouTube videos, ChatGPT explanations, and Google to assist me in academics rather than traditional study methods such as reading textbooks. I don't remember a time when information was not instantly accessible through the internet. Social media has shaped how I connect with others, express myself, and build friendships. Because of this, I naturally turn to AI when I have questions, need clarification, or want to explore something deeper, including scriptures of Hinduism. My experience as a young Hindu person who has lived with AI all my life. When it comes to Hinduism, I've realized that I mostly turn to digital platforms to learn about my faith. Instead of consulting a pundit or attending temple regularly, I often watch TikTok videos and Instagram reels that explain stories, teachings, and meanings behind practices. Short-form videos feel more accessible and easier for me to understand compared to long traditional texts. Sometimes creators break down complex ideas from the Bhagavad Gita into simple, relatable messages that connect to everyday life. I don't usually sit and read physical scriptures. Instead, I learn through summaries, voiceovers, and visual explanations online. My experience interacting with older generations who were not raised with AI and social media. Growing up with AI and technology has made me feel very different from older generations around me. My parents and grandparents did not grow up with social media or AI, so many digital tools feel foreign or confusing to them. I often have to have them set up Facebook accounts, adjust privacy settings, or download apps. Things that feel basic and automatic to me, such as creating a password, linking an email, or navigating settings can feel very overwhelming for them. Sometimes I realize that what is normal for me is completely new territory for them. It makes me more patient, but it also highlights the generational gap in how we experience technology today. With some older teachers, it can feel frustrating when they strictly say not to utilize AI for assignments. To them, AI may feel like cheating or laziness, but to me, it feels like using a study aid, similar to using Google, YouTube tutorials, or extra textbooks. When I'm told not to use AI at all, it can feel like my natural way of learning is being rejected. It sometimes puts me in a position where I have to balance respecting their rules while still recognizing that AI is part of my generation's reality. Overall, interacting with older generations makes me more aware of how differently we view technology. For them, AI is new and uncertain, but for me, it is familiar, integrated, and almost second nature. The positive impacts of AI on my life and as a young Hindu person. Number one, it makes learning easier and faster. AI helps me understand difficult topics in school and medical studies. Concepts that once felt overwhelming now make sense because AI can break them down into simple explanations I can grasp quickly. I can also ask any question without having to worry about any criticism or embarrassment. It supports my career growth. As a future doctor, AI gives me tools to organize notes, practice problem solving, and stay updated with new medical knowledge. It also makes me more comfortable adapting to technology-driven workplaces. It opens opportunities in the gig economy, whether it's managing a side hustle like Uber, freelancing, or social media work. AI helps me optimize schedules, communicate effectively, and improve my productivity, giving me an advantage in digital jobs. It improves communication and presentation skills. AI has helped me in practical ways, like assisting me to create this very presentation. It helps me structure ideas, find examples, and phrase points clearly. Beyond presentations, it also helps me express myself online, connect with new friends, and communicate thoughtfully. It enhances spiritual learning and awareness for young Hindus. Instead of consulting pundits or reading long scriptures, I often turn to TikTok videos, Instagram reels, and online resources to understand Hindu teachings, stories of the deities, and philosophical concepts. These short, engaging formats make learning more accessible and relatable, especially when traditional texts can feel overwhelming or difficult to understand. India recently hosted an AI conference emphasizing the role of technology in education and society, which reminds us that AI is now a part of the world and our lives, including spiritual learning. For young Hindus like me, AI has positively impacted our faith by making it easier to explore concepts like karma, dharma, and meditation in ways that fit modern life. It encourages curiosity, reflection, and connection, allowing us to engage with our religion actively rather than passively, and even discuss ideas with peers online who share similar beliefs. AI helping humanity, a Hindu perspective. One of the most promising aspects of AI is its capacity to revolutionize various sectors, including healthcare, agriculture, education, and environmental conservation. Through AI-driven innovations such as predictive analytics in healthcare, precision agriculture, personalized learning platforms, and climate modeling, humanity can address pressing challenges more effectively. This aligns with the Hindu principle of seva, or selfless service, wherein individuals work for the welfare of all beings. So, youth perspective, how AI opportunities make us feel empowered. Flexibility and choice in work and learning give us control over our time income and career direction, excited. Access to new skills, creative tools, and entrepreneurial opportunities sparks motivation and ambition. Independent. Multiple income streams and remote work options help us build self-resilience and financial confidence. Inspired. Global connectivity allows collaboration with peers, mentors, and projects worldwide, broadening perspectives. Future ready. Learning AI and digital skills prepares us to adapt confidently to rapidly changing job markets. Creative and motivated. AI tools enable experimentation, innovation, and self-expression in a judgment-free environment. The challenges I have faced from using AI all my life and as a young Hindu person. Number one, cyberbullying. I have personally never experienced cyberbullying, but I have friends who have been targeted online. Seeing how it negatively affected their mental health made me aware of the dangers of online spaces. Hurtful comments or personal attacks can cause anxiety, stress, and lowered self-esteem. Observing their experiences taught me the importance of protecting mental health and setting boundaries online. It has also made me more empathetic and cautious when interacting on social media. Number two, unrealistic standards created by AI and online content can harm youth mental health. Many of us feel stressed from constantly seeing people look perfect in AI-edited or filtered images online. AI-generated content creates unrealistic bodies, lifestyle, and success standards that we sometimes compare ourselves to. When I compare my real life to artificial content, it can lower confidence and self-esteem. The pressure to match these standards can increase anxiety and make young people feel insecure. Over time, it becomes harder for us to tell what is real, which can affect how we see ourselves and others. Misinformation in religious content. Not everything I find online about Hinduism is accurate or reliable. Short videos or reels can oversimplify or misinterpret teachings. Conflicting interpretations sometimes confuse me about what is authentic. Popular content often prioritizes entertainment over truth. I've learned to cross-check information and be careful about what I trust. Discrimination against Hindu faith online. Some people online spread stereotypes, jokes, or negative comments about Hindus. Seeing my religion misrepresented or mocked can feel hurtful and frustrating. It's difficult when posts are shared widely just for popularity, not understanding. I try to respond thoughtfully when necessary, but often choose to disengage. This has strengthened my awareness of my faith and pride in my beliefs. So, a personal experience of religious discrimination against Hindus online. One time I saw a TikTok where someone made a comment that disrespected Hindu practices. It was obvious that they just wanted popularity and views, hoping for shares even if it upset people like me. I choose not to respond at all, realizing that engaging would only give them attention and instead focus on staying calm and practicing discernment. Dependence on AI and technology. Growing up with AI sometimes rely too heavily on it for answers, presentations, or explanations. This can make me feel less confident in figuring things out on my own. I have to consciously balance AI use with traditional study and personal efforts. Over-resilience can create anxiety if AI tools are not available. It's a reminder to use AI responsibly and thoughtfully. Plagiarism and academic integrity. Growing up with AI, it's tempting to copy answers, summaries, or content directly from tools without fully understanding it. I've had to be careful to use AI responsibly, making sure I write in my own words and cite sources when needed. Sometimes it's challenging to balance efficiency with honesty, especially under tight deadlines. This experience has taught me the importance of academic integrity and personal effort. It reminds me that AI is a tool to support learning, not replace thinking or creativity. Online overexposure and distraction. Social media and AI can be very addictive or overwhelming with endless content. Notifications, trends, and viral videos can easily distract me from studies or spiritual learning. I've had to develop self-discipline and time management skills. Sometimes, stepping away from screens is necessary to focus on priorities. Learning to unplug occasionally has been an important lesson for balance. Online boundaries and Hindu values. There are concerns about the ethical implications of AI, particularly in the context of privacy, surveillance, and data security. In Hinduism, the concept of aparigraha, non-possessiveness, emphasizes the importance of respecting individuals' privacy and autonomy. Any misuse of AI technologies that infringes upon these principles is anti-ethical to Hindu values. I noticed someone I barely knew was constantly checking my social media activity online. It made me reflect on aparigraha, reminding me that respecting others' privacy is important, even in small, everyday digital interactions.
Honorable Senator, you have 5 minutes left.
Yeah. So, youth perspective, how challenges of AI make us feel overwhelmed. Constant pressure to upskill, multitask, and stay competitive can feel exhausting. Anxious and uncertain, fear of job loss, automation, and unstable gig work create stress about the future. Disconnected, reduced face-to-face interaction through social media, AI tools, and remote work can make youth feel isolated. Ethically conflicted, when work feels transactional or rating-based, youth may struggle to align jobs with values like karma, yoga, and dharma. Cautious and distrustful, concerns about AI safety, privacy, and misinformation make youth wary of relying fully on technology. So viral versus Viveka, how I navigate social media and AI. On social media every day, I see so much viral content that are trending, flashy, and hard to ignore. It's exciting, but sometimes I catch myself scrolling just for likes or views rather than learning anything truly meaningful. Viveka or discernment helps me decide what's truly meaningful for me, especially about Hindu teachings. It guides me to focus on reliable, thoughtful content instead of just what's popular. Using AI this way makes my social media experience personal, purposeful, and spiritually valuable. So my journey as a young Hindu in a digital world. Overall, being a young, educated Hindu in a digital world means constantly balancing tradition and technology. While I deeply respect the wisdom and practices passed down through generations, I also embrace the opportunities that AI and social media provide to explore my faith in new ways. AI has made learning, reflection, and spiritual growth more accessible than ever. I can quickly access teachings, compare interpretations, connect lessons to my daily life, and engage in meaningful religious conversations with other Hindu believers worldwide through social media. At the same time, it reminds me to think critically, question oversimplified content, and distinguish between authentic teachings and content created just for views or popularity. Engaging with my faith thoughtfully in this way has strengthened my understanding of Hindu philosophy and my ability to apply it in modern contexts. Ultimately, AI has shaped the way I connect with both knowledge and my identity, helping me navigate a world where tradition and technology coexist, and allowing me to grow spiritually, intellectually, and personally. So how do youths really feel about AI? Is it advantageous, beneficial, challenging, risky? AI through the eyes of youths. Youth have mixed feelings about AI, both excitement and concern. We enjoy the freedom, flexibility, and creativity it offers, along with global learning and work opportunities. At the same time, we worry about job instability, overwork, and loss of human connection. Hindu philosophy reminds us that life always has dualities, good and bad, pleasure and challenge. By focusing on intention, ethical action, and purpose, karma yoga, we can navigate AI in a balanced and mindful way. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Samaroo. As you would have realized, all three senators would have brought perspectives from their different fields as well as their lives. So we had a perspective from an expert and technical mind who has been working with artificial intelligence as it emerges. We have had an expert on the response of the human psychology to the benefits and the challenges that artificial intelligence exposes. And while we are accustomed speaking about this new phenomenon called artificial intelligence, our third senator reminded us it's not so new. It's been the only thing that they have experienced growing up. And so we have perspectives from which we can draw conversations and comments from. So the floor is open for both our in-person audience as well as our online viewers. You can post your questions in the comments, and I will be informed of the questions, and we will provide the monitoring. So we have the microphone available. We would like our audience to use the microphone, as it would allow for generation of conversations to be heard online as well. Our panelists, we have a mobile microphone that you can share amongst yourselves. So I'm leaving the floor open to questions. Don't let the Sabhapati have to ask all the questions. Please limit your questions to 1 minute, maybe 1.5 at most. I will have to use the Gantanada as well.
Not a question, it's just some observations. I agree with the attention span, the distorted views, the loss of unemployment, which is a tremendous thing, how society will adapt and how community will adapt to that. But one of the things that you see is the loss of skill of handwriting, which has just gone in 5 years, and it's getting worse. I've noticed social interactions has dropped. What do you all think of that? The reason why is because I'm a member of a club for many years. Long ago, you walk in, you knew nobody. Somebody say, hey, how are you going? How are things? Now you go, it's dying. Everyone just walks in and they've got and I have found the younger members cannot socially interact. It's impossible. Another problem is as a religious community, because this is a religious setting, how will it affect us? Very important topic today, very distinguished panel. Look at the numbers. Are they online? If you're online, you don't build a community online. And you see that even in communities where, you live in an area, everybody knew each other, they'll chat. Yes, you know each other as a residence group, not as human beings. So I think that's something. And very important is sometimes you go to certain things and you see the whole packed. Other institutions, you go, churches are having that, a lot of places. Some people it's packed. Is the whole idea of why is it that certain communities are able to attract, whereas other people, as the young presenter said, they are online, they get education online, but they're able to reinforce it by being part of a community, a religious community. So I would like the views on that. Thank you.
Okay. Panel, anyone would like to respond to any of the comments that were made?
I know, I definitely think that comment on reduced social interaction is true. And you see it even sometimes I would go to to the mall or to a restaurant, and sometimes you would see families and so many young people and other members just on their phone. So they're physically together, but they're not actually talking and relating. So I think that is one where creating device-free zones and rules in your family, where during dinner time or during particular family time, that you have rules where you're not on your phone all the time. And the other question about the religious question, why do some places, I don't know, Dr. Arvind, you have a thought on that? I don't know. I think you stumped me. I have to think about that one, Uncle, a little bit. But it's definitely something we have to look at as a Hindu community. Why are our numbers so low, and very often we, in the other communities we see that's something I think I still have to give some thought. Kimberly, you have an idea?
I wanted to ask our young people, will AI and technology replace our satsang?
No, I don't think that AI will fully replace satsang, but at the same time, it is definitely integrated into our tradition. So a lot of young Hindus like me might rather to watch the satsang online or on a Zoom meeting or a recording than to physically go to the venue. So
Hello? All right. Good. So let me say, I don't like to talk to people either. So I sympathize with the young people and their lack of socialization. But this is a big problem, because it is not only affecting socialization, it is actually affecting education. When you go to university, for example, being on campus, interacting with people, developing support networks is a big part of the university experience. And what we are seeing now is that a lot of people are coming to class and then they go home. And although all of them are in the same physical space all the time, they will go home and then join a Zoom meeting with each other. And these break down the bonds that create a meaningful life in the long run. So it is a bigger problem than just socializing with your family. It comes into play in different ways. With regard to the satsang and getting people out, I think the core question is, and it is not only a question with AI, it has just started with TV and radio broadcasts and all of these things. The question is, what is the advantage to coming to the satsang? Now, you might sit down and you might say, well, parents have to bring out the children, and they're not bringing out the children. Parents will drive their children up and down to every kind of lessons there are, because they see benefit. So the question really is, why are the parents not seeing benefit in coming to the mandir? This is a bigger question than just if there is, things online and AI and so on. This requires some fundamental re-examination of what is happening in the mandir. Yes. Well, that was the end of my comment.
Thank you very much. Yes. And then I acknowledge Dr. Sunarang after.
Namaskar, Revan Tilak Singh from COTT. I have a broad spectrum question, starting from I've noticed on social media, there are a lot of new AI storytelling pages that does storytelling for Hindu stories. And for me, some of them is the first time I'm hearing them, so it has been an educational impact on me. How can we integrate AI for more engagement in the mandir and also have it beyond just that Sunday morning service, have it carried out? So that's question one. On the other extreme, there's this issue right now with Anthropic, which is a company that develops AI, and the US Pentagon, right? And the US government. And maybe Dr. Arvind Singh or anybody else who feel that they could speak on it. There's actually an ethical issue here. right? So if you could just give some brief comments on that, maybe explain the situation if you know. And the third thing is, how me as Sewa, we as a group of Sewa TT people, we always try to identify problems and solve it. Is that integration of people a big of a problem that we should create a Sewa project out of this? So.
All right, so I'm not sure exactly what is the issue with Anthropic and the Pentagon that you're talking about. You want to just let me know?
So, in the past couple of days, the US Pentagon has actually instructed its AI provider to remove all barriers so that they could use AI as they see fit, including an integration of weapons. Anthropic, in their moral stance, have said they don't know how far this could go, given how new AI is and how powerful it is. And they have refused to do so. They have refused to do so, and the US government has said, okay, well, then we'll just find another provider. So.
Yeah, so I think if you just look overall, the US government is not really one to set too much by regulations. You know, you could have the laws, that doesn't really make so much of a difference if you need to achieve particular ends. So I think it is, and also when you're looking at geopolitics, there are much greater concerns because you have to think about whether other people are going to integrate it, whether they are not acting with regulations, and whether that is going to put you at a disadvantage if your own regulations compromise your military superiority. So that is a whole different ballgame you're talking about in geopolitics and so on. What was the other thing? Right, AI in the manders and so on. So one of the things that I think is interesting and is just the use of AI for creative purposes. Right, so as you said, as you would have seen that I use it for a storybook. Right now, when I did that with my younger daughter, she immediately, when she saw that her ideas could come out on the page, she immediately started storyboarding. Right, what are the books and the whole series of books that she could write? So you might think that this is replacing writing, but it is also a way to encourage writing because now you get a visual feedback loop. So it could actually do things like encourage more, it could encourage children to write more descriptively because they might have an idea in their mind and they write it down and they see, oh, it doesn't really come out like what I imagined. So now they have to iterate on their descriptions to generate something, right? You could say in the Kendra, you could have an AI competition for youth. So you know you have film competitions and art competitions. Why not have an AI competition and take all the mantras of the year and turn them into AI-generated video so that they could be distributed in shorts? So there are many things. AI opens up creativity, just like we had before with, say, synthesizers, and you could go on your laptop now and you could open a program and you could compose a whole orchestra, you could orchestrate a whole score of music, right? You don't need to go and hire a set of musicians and do anything like that again. It brings creativity and creative potential to the masses. So this is also an opportunity. So things like this you could use in creative ways to improve storytelling and content generation and try to spark the interest of people.
I think too, we have to, it's very powerful that we have to maybe educate parents some more on what are the benefits of being in the mandir. While yes, you might get some of the information and you could hear the discourse and the music online, but there's a 5-sensory experience to smell the agarbatti and the hawan, to listen, to hear the resonance of that is sound therapy, that is, that nervous system, emotional, that co-regulation that happens when we are physically together in one space cannot be transmitted via a Zoom meeting. And yes, it could be a prop or it's better than nothing, but it can't replace that presence and the social aspect of it and the community building that comes from being physically present. And Rivan, to answer your question, is you asked whether the problem was big enough for Sewatiti, but I think the threat to our identity and the threat of, losing Viveka to the viral mind is certainly big enough to maybe a project, even if it's just on awareness of responsible social media use and the threats, and how do we develop and preserve, that attention span and that discernment is definitely something to consider.
Okay. I'd like to invite Dr. Sinarang to the...
And where the emotional part of the brain overrides the logical faculty. How can you deal with that? And are there options available from tech and AI to address that mechanism where the emotional part overrides the logical part? And this other question is to help a youth with his Caribbean studies. How can schools promote healthy use of AI and technology? What policies can they implement to allow the students to healthily use AI and tech?
I think so. I would have used the old school methods of the therapy in terms of how can we use AI? No, I wouldn't have used the knife that caused the cut to stitch the wound. So I would have used traditional methods in that particular case in terms of cultivating better sleep hygiene and showing awareness and really bringing to the forefront that cognitive restructuring, so that where you attune the person a little more to the logic than the emotional. So you take down the emotional reactivity, and that's something that I think AI is not necessarily programmed to do if you had to solve that using that mechanism. So it would have been a hybrid of methods, but I did use yoga, breathing, journaling, fixing sleep, REM sleep, and stuff to restabilize the nervous system. I don't know if I answered your question, but maybe we could discuss it some more.
This question on the schools?
Yeah. I think that schools should start taking AI more seriously and start doing more awareness programs, because some teachers have this mentality that AI is bad, everything about AI is wrong, and AI would make you not smart or not as smart as you would be without it. But I think some students use AI responsibly and some don't. But if schools start creating more awareness programs saying that students should use AI just for the information, like how they would use it for Google, but it all comes down to exams. So if 5 students use AI, the whole class using AI, but some use it responsibly, and yes, they get the information, but they still go back after without AI, review the information, review the practice questions, review all the answers that AI gave them, and put their own thoughts to it. So those are the students that use it responsibly and who do better in Caribbean studies exams than who just use it to do the homework and that's it, done. So use it, but use it responsibly and monitor using it, and also add your personal thoughts to it.
Yes, so although this isn't from my talk, being in the education field, I could speak to this a little bit as well. The incorporation of AI now, and I think Dr. Pandit mentioned it about cognitive deloading. So this is an issue, right? So when you look at the types of outcomes you have from courses, they are structured at different cognitive levels. And what you don't want, this is not something that you could just tell students how to use it. It is actually fundamental instructional redesign that has to happen. The way you assess students, the way you teach them, all of that has to change to incorporate this. Because what you have now is a tool, just like you would have had a dictionary, the internet, all of these things that would have come up, which would have fundamentally changed the way we operated. This is now a new type of tool. So to give you the example of a library, people don't go in the library anymore, right? So you would have had time that you'd have allocated to a student to physically go in a library and look for information. You don't do that anymore because now they just type on their computer, right? We had to redesign the way courses were laid out in order to take that into consideration. Now we have a tool which could give them structured responses. It could be a help. It could help them in the way they are approaching questions and understanding it and so on. What has to happen from the pedagogical point of view is that the instruction has to be redesigned, understanding that the students are going to use AI. Right? So the way we ask the questions, the way you engage the students has to change at a fundamental level. And that is not something that we have worked out yet. We're still in the initial phases where, as they said, there's still a lot of fear and nobody really sure what is happening. These things will happen in the next few years.
Dr. Arvind, are there any online questions at this point in time? Okay, sure. We are coming close to the end, so I acknowledge Ms. Bhagwat, and I don't know if there's anyone else. Please.
Thank you. All three talks resonate with me. I mean, as an academic, I know the challenges. Two of the things, I mean, yes, AI has a lot that we could benefit from. And I accept Valini's point of view about the cognitive issues. Valini just said something, she's old school, and I'm old school, so kind of like, that is important. And Ms. Samaroo just said something to the effect that we have to use it carefully and responsibly. My question to her, really, as well as the other panelists, is how do we get young people, and this is my concern, how do we get young people to use this tool responsibly? And I say this to you because I listened to you and you said, well, you use it responsibly. Just last week I was talking to a young person here. I mean, he led in the Ramdilla here that we had. And he said, I prefer not to go to class at campus. I go home and do everything online, Zoom classes. And I said to him, I says, but he says, my sister, both of whom here would tell us she prefers to be on campus every day. One is doing law, one is doing natural sciences. And this is the challenge. Now, I'm a social scientist, so of course I prefer the physical being. But this is the challenge. My students don't critically think. They lost the art of critical thinking. And that, I think, is our challenge now as we go forward. How do we get them to be as responsible as you would have suggested? Because I tell you something, I have gone through, Mayaji has always said it, when you're using things online, especially Hindu scriptures and things, be very careful because you're getting bad information a lot of times. How do you manage that? And that's what I would like you to address, but more importantly, how do we address that to the young people to start thinking responsibly with using AI?
So the first thing I would say is set a time limit with how much you utilize AI, social media, and these other tools. So I would say 5 hours for the most, because
I actually wanted to ask because Dr. Pandit had said half an hour, but is half an hour enough?
For the week, 5 hours. But it needs to have a time limit for sure. So in that way, you can get more face-to-face human interactions with the time limit. So that will have the communication part. Also, I would say AI, it can teach you in any way you want to be teach. So a lot of students choose not to go to class sometimes and let AI teach them the way that they feel is most comfortable for them. So if a teacher is not teaching in your particular teaching style, you can just instruct AI to teach you in the style that is most comfortable for you. So, and a lot of students learn in different ways. So one teacher cannot have the teaching style to teach every single student in a lecture the way that they are most comfortable with learning. So sometimes, yes, I go to my classes, but sometimes I also use AI and choose not to go to classes and still do good in exams. Because, again, one person cannot teach in the style that everybody can understand. And you have the tool of AI, and yes, it have advantages and disadvantages always, because you're reducing face-to-face interaction, you're reducing social communication and all this stuff, but at the same time, you're learning in the way that is most comfortable for you. So,
and a part of it I just wanted to add of the educational process also is, now I see where it could be, for example, someone with social anxiety who's very introverted. It's useful to have them, they can still access education. But a part of the educational process in character building is also discipline. So you may not like a lecturer, you may not like a lecturer's particular teaching style, but a part of the character building is the discipline to show up where you are supposed to, even though you may supplement that later. And in terms of developing the critical thinking, I think that's what Professor Arvind was talking about. I don't think the teaching and instructional guide is fully on current as yet with the AI technology in terms of how do we prevent education from just being regurgitating as opposed to critical thinking. So that's where the instruction and the assessment has to come up a little bit, evolve a little more.
Yeah, that's basically the point I was going to make. That the question is, if you say there's a problem in critical thinking, are they passing your exams? And if they're passing your exams but they can't think critically, it means your assessments do not assess critical thinking. So the problem is in the assessment design. If the assessments are designed to test critical thinking and they cannot think critically, they are going to fail. Now, if the assessments test critical thinking, wherever they get that critical thinking from, and they pass, then what is the problem? So I think this is the way we have to think about it in the course. The course is meant to achieve a particular outcome. If your assessments are aligned with that, so you get all the content outcomes, all the cognitive outcomes out of your assessments, they can't beat the system. The thing is now, sometimes we say, oh, well, they can't think critically, but they make a 95 and they pass in the exams, but they can't think critically. Then something is wrong in the assessment design. So that is becoming more evident now as we move to these sorts of issues. But I agree with the sentiments.
Thank you very much.
All right.
We are running short on time, but I would like to wrap up within the 5 minutes of discussion. So I have Ms. Bhagwat here, and then Ms. Bipat. I may not be able to facilitate any further questions, any came from online. Okay, and then after we'll wrap up. So if, in the interest of time, what I will ask is Ms. Bhagwat and Ms. Bipat can present their questions, and then we can have our panelists respond to kind and also provide their closing comments at the same time. Thank you so much.
So my question is sort of both for Valini and for Kimberly. And because I'm not talking about adolescents, but people like my age in the corporate world, because Kimberly spoke a lot about using AI to upskill. But the corporate world, I'm not even part of the corporate world, but this is just from interactions, right? Especially if you're working for multinationals, especially if you're working for big conglomerates, right? They're demanding that you're constantly using technology, that you constantly have to upskill, that you implement AI in the workplace and in the workforce. And then there are no barriers anymore to communication, right? Meaning, like, you used to have a workday ending at 4 or workday ending at 5, but the workday never ends for people anymore. And they need to be constantly accessible or your job is jeopardized, right? So that is overstimulation. That's not just happening to adolescents. It's happening throughout your lifetime because the world that we're living in economically has placed this value on the individual that your value is how much you are able to produce, right? And that is, I mean, that's a fundamental question in the world that we're living in, how it's structured. This goes back to education, and this goes back to why children in our community that values education above all else are dropping out of the temple and dropping out of extracurricular activities. And I see, because I've been carting around children up and down this country for SCA and dealing with SCA and so on, that you go to dance class, you go to music class, you go to swimming class, 2 weeks before any exam and test, they out of the class, right? What kind of discipline is that teaching your children? Because you're putting education up here and everything else down here. As somebody who's 40, I have seen my generation firsthand witness their parents putting education on the pedestal, and when they're in their 30s, they don't know what to do with their life because their life has no meaning anymore, right? Your job is not your life. And we're doing that to children again. So that, you know, that's why they're not in the temple. They're not in the temple because they're in extra lessons. And it's because the Hindu community has put that value in education. We don't see later on what happens to these children. So that's my contribution. But it's also in the workforce, right? Constantly demanding.
So please keep in mind, as I ask Ms. Bipat to...
Namaskar to everyone. I want to say that I think AI has advantages as well as disadvantages. Because when you come to the mandir setting, right, most of your opinions, a lot of opinions expressed on AI are not really directly coming from books. You know, like if you want to explain the Bhagavad Gita and you explain it line to line and explain what is the meaning of it, you wouldn't get out in the AI with that self-explanation, and some may be wrong as well because people give their own opinions. But what I am saying is that if you look at education from the mandir point of view, you want to train the children. Well, AI would go from secondary to tertiary, but I don't know how much it would do with the primary sector. But you want to pass on values, you want to pass on traditions, you want to pass on things in the mandir. Like teaching children how to sing bhajans. You may not get that on the AI, you may not get the correct version, you may not get the correct words, because teaching children songs would mean you have to explain the words, explain the meanings. So this is like a one-to-one interaction with the people who you are actually teaching as a teacher. But with AI, you don't get that. With AI, you want to learn like a power song like Holy Kilera Gubira. You could put on Amitabh version and listen to it, and you will learn it like that, right? But if you want somebody want to understand the meaning of the words that are said within the song, it's a different story. And some of the, as Dr. Raghunath said, some of the opinions that we get on the text that we use, the scriptures, are not always what is written in the scriptures, because people have their own versions. You know, each one of the scriptures that were written, one by Valmiki, next one by Tulsidas, or every different scripture, you have different versions, you have different opinions. In the same way with AI, you would find people giving their own opinions on different things, which is not always what we want. This is not always what will help to develop our customs, our tradition, and put it forward to the next generation. We want a future where we could uphold some of what our ancestors brought with them, right? And if we don't do that, we can't depend on AI to do that. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm sorry that I'm now rushing, but I'll ask all of our panelists to respond to the 2 questions and to please give your closing comments at the same time. Lunch awaits, and that's very important. So We don't want an AI lunch. We want an actual 5 senses lunch, as Dr. Pandit put it. So.
Right, so I guess to respond to Anila's comment, it really is challenging, and it's something I see with working women especially. And again, that's where we have to apply discernment and our own boundaries in terms of knowing what's important. I think even organizations and companies, you need to have your... Recently, one little thing that was transformative for a client was simply getting a separate work phone, and after a certain hour, or when she wasn't on call, not attending to it, having it separate, completely different. So having that discernment, having conversations with your employers, with your supervisors, to set those boundaries and expectations, that's important. So I guess my final thought would be viral pulls us outward, Viveka anchors us inward. Always remember that, and be conscious with your use of technology. In and of itself is not bad, but when we become servants of it, that's when the damage is caused. Closing comments?
So I would say that, again, AI have its advantages and disadvantages, and we need to remember that yes, AI gives us information, but it may not always be accurate, and it cannot give us the real face-to-face human interaction that we need as humans and as people. We need that communication with other human beings. So yes, we need to realize that it is here, it is a part of our lives, and we do use it, but again, use it with restrictions and responsibility.
So I don't have a very different set of comments to make. I think they all covered it well. AI is a tool, but it is a lot more than that. It is going to fundamentally change the way we operate in the world, but that doesn't mean that it has to be a cause for fear. Approach things with common sense, with good sense. You know you can't take things for granted anymore. You just can't accept things that you see. So just be aware of that, verify things, and I think things will be fine. The world is working towards regulation in many ways and making AI safer for general use and trying to combat all the ills. That is going on as well. So I think just approach things with common sense and good sense, and we should be okay for the while.
Thank you very much to everyone. Firstly, to our 3 senators, Professor Arvind Singh, Dr. Velini Pandit, Ms. Kimberly Samaroo, I'd like to say how grateful the entire Varsha Pratipada Sansad is for your input here today. All of your comments and all of your expertise will be taken into consideration by the Margdarshak as we get ready for Varsha Pratipada Sansad, the main presentation on the 22nd of March, that is 2 or 3 Sundays from now, at 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. right here at the Hindu Prachar Kendra. We would like everyone to start spreading the message as you realize this is a very important, a very tangible topic to our day-to-day lives at this point in time. And it will be very interesting to hear what insights from Sanatana Dharma can help us navigate all of the benefits as well as the challenges of artificial intelligence and technology in general as we move into the world. I'll now invite our Agnyakari to bring vote of thanks and then to lead us through the closing.
As we come to a close of today's Senate, on behalf of the Varsha Pratipada Sansad, also known as VPS, Parliament of the Hindu New Year, I thank all of you, our honored and distinguished members and guests, our senators, and all the many sevaks who made this event possible. As we know, VPS is not a single event, but rather a continued Hindu vision of offering our service to the nation and the world. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, the world is one family. Sanatan Dharma demands that we answer its call and keep the conversation going. Please share your thoughts that may have come out of today's thrilling conversation with us via email or WhatsApp so that our voices do not become weak but grow in strength. As we come to a close, may we all learn and serve together as one family and bring the infinite riches of wisdom and love embedded in our Sanatan Dharma to all. We will now have the lowering of the Bhagavad Dwaj, followed by closing mantras. Utishta.
Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Jai Shri Ram. Please sit. I now invite President of the Hindu Prachar Kendra, Geeta Vahini ji, to do closing announcements.
Thank you very much, Vishalaji. I am so happy that I went to school when I did. And I am also so happy that we have something called AI to inform all of you that India is winning the match. No, but anyway, of course, we all want West Indies to win, but it seems that's not going to happen. So AI has allowed us to have that information while sitting here. So how we manage and juggle everything. And I am anxiously awaiting when AI will be able to help us to revel in the sacred food that is prasad, that people miss out at satsang. All right? So there are many things, all right? Anyway, so the last thing is, you know the guys outside, that's why we switched across here. The setting is a little different to what you're accustomed to because there was some noise going on outside because the holy car is being constructed. Next thing I heard him saying, hey, let me check out AI and see what design we could get for upgrade this holy car. You know? So I thought it was so wonderful just listening to them, and they went on their phones and they started looking for things. And then our holy car Dahan drama, I told them, write up the script, right, and work on it. And then I saw this real good script that came, and I said, wow, okay. And then I saw, is ChatGPT do that? You know, so then we have to load it with all our data. So anyway, I'm talking a little bit about Phagwa because it's my main announcement. It's happening on Saturday, and I invite all of you to please come. And you know, when we're talking about being creative and how we use technology and how we get young people involved, it's what we have always been about here. So if you want to come and hear Hiranya Kashipu Girem, or you want to come and hear Hupong and Damadol, right, be here on Saturday, right? Holika Dahan, we'll have the burning of the effigy, the drama depicted in our time, and in our context with our issues. And if you have bougainvillea, we need plenty bougainvillea because all the areas where we normally go to harvest, we're not seeing any. The blooms have already fallen off. So you can talk to any one of the members about the Bougainvillea arrangement. The bhojan has already been blessed, and it's packaged for you to take away if you need to, or you can sit and have the meal. And this is also something that AI cannot provide when you sit and you eat together. So I'm just sharing, for observation. What's that? Not yet. I don't want to reach to that. I want to be able to eat my food with, real people. So you can, of course, get your footwear, and you can go across to the Heritage Institute next door. And the date for VPS has already been given, the 22nd. It's so interesting. I think it's one of our more interesting years, Sabhapati. So we have the flyers. Of course, we are using AI a lot to share the information, but we still have catering for Dr. Raghunath. And who else said they were old school? Valini, one for you, right? Just teasing you all. So if you take this is not for you. This is for you to give to another old school person. But even if you're young school, please take one and give to another person. Thank you all very much for being here. We were thinking we have almost 70 persons, and we're happy that you came to join us. We have all the exciting cricket matches and so on going on. So meet and greet each other. Human contact in person, which cannot happen on AI. But when you go home, please use AI to share what you have learned and to share the invitations. Thank you all. Namaskar. Jai Shri Ram. And thank you to Lal Boys. Any AI live streaming services you all need, Lal Boys. They are the people for this job. Thank you very much, Harshan and Indarji.